Memories is just trauma stuck in time. The root belief is the most important one because you could have one root belief with 7 beliefs attached to it. The partner that you choose will always say more about how you love yourself. 2 girls can date the same guy, but they have completely different perspectives on him. I don't think I found ThetaHealing. I think ThetaHealing found me. Just focus on you first. It's not about finding external love. It's about internal love. You go into healing and you figure out why you have a hormone imbalance that has been so severe that's created disease in your body. So then it's suppressing your feminine, and what's the most feminine part of your entire body as a female? Your uterus. So then you're creating a disease in the uterus that stops its function. And being pregnant, you can also connect to the energy that's in you.
Well, welcome to another episode of the Help You Podcast, where we're chatting with different people, high performers and achievers in the world, and seeing how they deal with their journeys, their mental struggles, their strategies of how they handle these things. Today I have Dina Ghanem. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I apologize. A theta healer and sound healer. Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I think the big question is, what is theta healing, sound healing? So I'm going to give you the floor. Explain to us, to the audience, of what it is and maybe your story of how you got into it.
Okay. So I got into it 10 years ago. I think 11 years ago was the first time I ever heard about it from a friend's cousin, just in passing, never did a session, nothing. And I kind of let it be. And then a year after that, I was just driving with a friend and we passed a building that I knew offered courses for ThetaHealing, and I just went in and paid.
Okay.
To become a practitioner.
You just had the gut feeling. You just did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always say, I don't think I found ThetaHealing. I think ThetaHealing found me.
Okay.
I just felt pulled to do it, go in, try it. I think my first day in my first course is when it really sunk in why I was there. Up until that point, I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And up until that point, I had never really shared how I felt about anything with anyone, not even myself.
Wow. Okay.
So I was very reserved, very introverted and closed off. And being there kind of allowed me to see the patterns that I've created for myself, the beliefs that I've absorbed throughout my life and how they were shaping me as a person and shaping my experiences moving forward. So to explain a little bit about what ThetaHealing is and tie it together, ThetaHealing is an energy healing technique that works with the subconscious mind through the theta brainwave. The theta brainwave is what we access when we're in deep meditation. An example I like to give is, you know, when you're about to fall asleep, where you're kind of awake, it's
like
that in and out of, So that is your brain in the theta brainwave.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then when you do fall asleep and you dream, your dreams come from your subconscious mind. So accessing the theta brainwave while being fully alert gives you direct access to your subconscious mind. So a lot of people like to I think the most common reference would be lucid dreaming, but it's not.
Yeah, I was literally going to say, it's not.
It's not. It's not. You're fully conscious, you're fully alert, you're in conversation with the healer. So you're not like passed out. It's not hypno.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a nice in between. So you access the theta brainwave, which very naturally gives you access to your subconscious mind. And that's where all your memories, beliefs, all you've experiences throughout life, especially in childhood, gets stored. So when someone is dealing with a pattern that they have or a belief that's no longer serving them, it'll be stored in your subconscious mind for a specific reason. So your subconscious holds on to beliefs that thinks it will keep you safe. So even if the belief is not serving you, for some reason throughout your life, your subconscious thought that this belief would keep you safe. And that's why it's holding on to it. So the whole dance with the subconscious mind is trying to explain to it that we can change this negative belief into a positive belief and still be safe.
Is it that you see it in almost a third person type of view, or where you're like seeing this, or is it, can you engage with this, or how does it, once you're in your theta wave and you're able to see this and you start realizing you're in your subconscious, how do you really engage with the subconscious? Or you just sit there and learn, and then once you have that realization?
It comes up. So it's your subconscious isn't going to be something foreign to you.
Okay.
So it's not like it's not like an entity that you're dealing with. Yeah. It's really just you. It's your memories. It's nothing foreign comes in. Okay. It's all about you being able to remember certain memories, traumas. And some people will remember memories that they've never even thought about before. Same with me. Like the memories that come up when you're in your subconscious are amazing because they're so familiar to you.
They'll
second
resonate,
they come up. Yeah.
You're like, that's where that came from or something. Interesting.
If you're not in your subconscious and you're just working in your conscious mind, you'd probably not remember it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that's the power it gives you. It gives you power to enter yourself in your own way.
So I know you said it's not like lucid dreaming, but I can imagine it's a challenge, at least at the beginning, to be able to get into your theta. Is it easy to stay in it, or is that the purpose of a healer, or to help you kind of find that balance? But is it easy to fall in and out of it?
Yeah.
Almost like waking up or something like this out of a dream or something.
So it's important to know that every time you speak, you are coming out of it.
Okay.
But with practice, you're going to know how to stay in it, even if you're speaking. So you come in and out, but it's so quick and it's so minor that you're really just in it, you know? But I think your question is more about the client, not as the healer.
Exactly.
So as a healer, we guide the client to enter their theta brainwave, which gives them access to their subconscious. You will get clients that can't even keep their eyes closed.
Okay.
And they're very fidgety. So it's about then trying to download them with things where it's safe to remember. A lot of people fight being in their subconscious, fight their memories because they find it unsafe or uncomfortable. So it's all about bringing the person back. Like you said, you do need to bring them back sometimes. You need to help them feel very comfortable with their eyes closed. It's okay, relax, you know? I think I found a shift in that once I started incorporating sound healing into my theta healing sessions. So prior to that, it was just theta healing, and I would find a struggle with people to just stay in their theta brainwave, eyes closed, all of that. But when I started incorporating sound healing, where we start the session off with sound healing, and the way I do it is one-on-one, so the bowls are placed on the body.
Okay.
It helps them so much more get into it. So when we get to the part of theta healing, they're already so in their own theta brainwave. They're very comfortable. Their eyes have been closed for a while. They relaxed. So it helps a lot.
Interesting. And how does sound play that part in this to help them get into this space?
6 years after I became a theta healer, I, in the exact same fashion, became a sound healer. I just one day went and paid for a course. And I had not done a session before. I just went and did it. And sitting there, first day, someone places the bowls on my body. I've never been so triggered in my entire life.
Really?
And I was going in with the thought that it was going to be like relaxing, you know, just listening to sounds.
Yeah.
I was so triggered.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So sound healing, the vibrations of the sound bowls help kind of shake things up in the body. So they move the energy that could be stuck somewhere, emotions that are stuck in the body, and brings them to the surface for you to deal with it. I say sound healing shakes things up, theta healing gets to the root of those emotions. Incorporating the two came from me being so triggered in that first session, and then thinking, I have all the tools to work with the emotions that just popped up. But what if someone doesn't, and they just came and did a sound healing session and then left feeling so triggered, didn't know what was going on, doesn't know how to work through these emotions that have popped up? That's when I got the idea to incorporate the two. So I start with the sound healing in my sessions. I trigger the person, allow all the emotions to surface, and then we do a theta healing session where we work through these emotions that just came up. And then we close off with a sound healing session, but on the back. That closes off it relaxes, it closes off the energy points.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so walk me through a typical session. So if we're doing sound and theta healing, what does that look like? How long are we doing sound? How long usually a theta session last?
Okay, so it starts off with 10 minutes of sound healing.
Okay.
So person comes in, we'll discuss briefly what they're going through. If there's a specific topic they want to work on, something specific happened in their life. And then we'll go into sound healing. So they'll lay down on their back, and I have full access to the front of their body. And I start placing the bowls on their body. As I'm playing the bowls, this is around 10-15 minutes of the front of the body. I ask them to set an intention for today's session. So set an intention. What do you want to come out with? How do you want to feel when you come out? How do you want this specific thing to be resolved? And just think about it while I'm doing this. Think about it. All the emotions will start surfacing. We then, 10-15 minutes in, we'll go into theta healing. So theta healing, I do a guided meditation to guide them into the theta brainwave. Once they're there, we start a dance. So it's a conversation. It's a back and forth. When was the first time you experienced this feeling? What does that emotion feel like? What does that memory include? Who's in it? What were you wearing? What was said to you? How did that make you feel? And we keep going back and forth. And depending on the answers, my questions will then shift. And their visualizations. So when your eyes are closed and you're in your theta brainwave and you're accessing your subconscious, all the visualizations that you see, those are the truth. Those are your memories. And it's your truth. It doesn't matter. If someone else was in that memory and they remember it differently, that's their truth.
Is that how, so you're saying it's if I were doing it, it was how I see it or how I remembered that event.
Yes.
Maybe not, it might not actually be exactly how it happened, but it's how I'm remembering it.
Yeah, it's your own truth.
Okay.
And it's important to know that because that's how your belief was created around this visualization, this memory. So it's how you remember it. And then, so I like to say that memories is just trauma stuck in time. And that's why you hold on to that memory.
Yeah.
So we go into that memory. How old were you? How did it make you feel? And we start shifting beliefs that come up until we get to the root belief. So the root belief is the most important one because you could have one root belief with 7 beliefs attached to it. And you have to work on all the beliefs in order to completely destroy the system that this belief has built. So then let's say the root belief, which is sometimes the most common one, is I'm not enough. So I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not... There's so many things attached to I'm not enough, and it can show up as being a perfectionist in your life or an overworker, overachiever, always trying to do the best to gain the bare minimum. So when we get to the root belief, now this is what we need to change because this will destroy anything that is standing on it. This is the foundation of all your other beliefs.
Interesting.
So we shift that. So then I ask the client, do I have permission to pull, cancel, or remove this negative belief and replace it with a positive one? The positive one will be depending on the person.
Okay.
So it's whatever comes up for them.
Okay.
And then if they say yes, we make the shift and we take it from there.
Let's double tap into that. How does that kind of work? Is it that you're just saying something to them to make them believe something when you're in this space and either they're more susceptible to it or more open to receiving that type of message? Because I would imagine that if these are deep-rooted things in their minds, right, they probably believe it like on a very, very
deep level,
yeah. Right? So then how does that work? Is it that you need to be like doing that session multiple times for, you know how they say repetition, right? Then that's how you remember something. Is it something like that or how does that work?
Okay, so I think there's like different levels to your question.
Okay.
First, it's the kind of client that comes to you.
Okay.
So they need to be ready to heal. A lot of people could be skeptic about the whole thing, about what healing is, about what it entails, but they need to be ready. So if you're ready to heal, then you're ready to let go of the emotions that have been holding you back. So that's the first step. If you're not ready, you're not going to heal. The next step would be if you have a root belief that you're holding on to. I say like transformation is instant. So healing is a journey, but transformation is instant. So if you're able to see that this is your root belief and you know how it served you throughout your life and you know that currently it's holding you back, then if you're ready, which is step 1, you will want to let go of it. So wanting to let go of it will help with your healing. Number 3 is your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a visualization and reality. So whatever you're able to visualize becomes the reality of your subconscious. That's why we say monitor your thoughts, monitor your visualizations, because it's important.
Definitely.
So if all 3 are present, transformation is instant. It doesn't take, like, yes, healing is a journey, as I said, but transformation is instant. It takes a minute. The minute you find the root cause, you're able to change it. But having said that, once we finish and we change these beliefs, we take it into a different kind of visualization. So I want you to now visualize yourself in a bubble where you're living your day-to-day life, feeling and knowing that you are enough. What emotions come up for you?
You feel confident, happy, strong,
Some people will say that and they truly believe that and that's it. They're good. The belief has been shifted and they've embodied the new belief. Some people will stay in it a little bit and then they say, I feel anxious. Feeling that they're good enough makes them feel anxious. Okay, why do you feel anxious? What's going on around you? I'm receiving compliments, I'm receiving love, I'm receiving attention. It's too much. So now there's another belief attached to the first belief.
I see. Okay.
And that's how you keep going.
That's so interesting because you hear this concept of like fake it till you make it almost, right? So it's like, hey, say manifest what you want. So it's like, hey, look, I am strong. I am confident. I am able to do this. And so you just kind of repeat that behavior until you almost own it and you visualize it into existence. I've noticed in my own life kind of doing it from that side without trying to get into the deeper side. So it's interesting to hear that. Very, very cool. Yeah, more on that. I think we go very deep into this. From that
I can
side,
keep going for sure.
Definitely. From that side of things, like For you, where did you see this moment where you're like, was it a session that you did with somebody, or there was like, look, I want to dedicate the rest of my life to this space? Like you did this session. You said, you know, you had the intuition, the gut feeling to go through it, and it resonated with you then. Like, what was your profession before you were into theta healing?
So I actually started when I was still in university.
Oh, okay. So you're still studying. Oh, okay.
And I was in advertising.
Okay.
For the first 6 years, I took theta healing as my own personal journey.
Okay.
And I just worked on myself. I would do it for people around me because of their own curiosity, but mainly it was for me.
Okay.
And I owned it as just my thing where I'm working on my own beliefs. And then once I incorporated sound healing and saw how powerful the two were together, that's when I was like, okay, I need to share this.
Just share this with the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then it was just word of mouth. Like someone told someone, hey, I did this session, try it out. And then
interesting.
Yeah. I think when you see the result on people and how it changes their life, their perspective and mindset.
It's that positive reinforcement almost. You're like, look, I see how powerful this is. I want to be able to continue doing this.
You just want to help.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
From that, what are the main things when you have clients of yours? What are the main things that these root issues usually come to? Or what is their usually intention? Like you said, they have to have some sort of intention when they start the session. Usually, what are they based in? Is it around like confidence, or what do they come to you?
Money and love.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Money and love for sure. With women, it's more love. And it always kind of trickles down to self-love. I think that's...
Like you were saying, like, am I worth it? Am I worthy of love?
Am I worthy of love? Am I good enough? When it comes to money, it would be more, I have to struggle to succeed. So everyone has specific beliefs that they've built related to certain things. But I think specifically here, love is a very big one. It goes down to their self-love, because I think the partner that you choose will always say more about how you love yourself. So if you choose someone that's abusive or doesn't respect you, doesn't give you what you deserve, it's always a reflection of how you see yourself, what you value for yourself. Are you abusive towards yourself? Do you speak to yourself in that same way? Or is it a father figure that you grew up with, and that's your first idea of what love should be, and the father figure you had was verbally abusive, physically abusive, and it's stuck in your mind.
That's what it is. This is how we show love. This is how I should be treated, or whatever it may be.
Exactly.
I would imagine this is very, very personal from person to person, but if this is a generalization, if you were just speaking to girls out there, and any girls have these kind of issues of saying, what is your advice to them?
I think that's a big one.
Yeah,
it's a big responsibility to give advice. But I think to go back to it, just focus on you first. It's not about finding external love. It's about internal love, really loving yourself. So like I see how people nowadays, especially on social media and all of that, it's always like self-care day, self-love. This is how I show myself self-love. And it's like beautiful. Please do that. But also see what you need. What are your needs? Like you do want to take care of yourself physically. Yes. You do want to spend time with yourself, feeling pretty, feeling nice, feeling cozy, amazing. But work on the parts of you that are attracting this partner you don't want.
Interesting. Okay.
Because a lot of people will attract a partner and then say, I don't know why I'm attracting these people. It's like, the past like 3-4 people you've dated have all been the same. And it's the pattern that you've created. So again, it goes back into like the patterns that we're creating. So if you have a pattern, it's you.
Yep.
You're attracting these people, because 2 girls can date the same guy, but they have completely different perspectives on him. Yeah. And he's treated both of them very differently. So people will respond to you the way you are. So if 2 girls date the same guy and he was verbally abusive to one, but treated the second like a queen, and you're like, how? It's what she required of him. It's what her energy asked of him.
That's so interesting to think about, because, we're very quick, and I imagine in the dating world too, it's like, once this person's acted a certain way, that's who they are, and they're categorized that way, and you can't change or whatever it may be. So it's very interesting to hear that, where it's like, it takes 2 to tango a little bit, where it's like, hey, you're putting that, so working on yourself in that space, I think is, they say, know your own value, or know what you're bringing, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I had a question. So now with deep into the spirituality side of this thing, right? And there's the other side of the science backside too. how do you as a theta healer like blend the two? Or is it a blend, or because I know there's people out there who say, hey, look, you need to be monitoring things all the time. Like I wear a Whoop and say, look, I understand when I'm most stressed throughout the day, and I do like, you know, breath work and meditation and things like that to try to calm myself down. Is there a way that is interwoven? Are they separate and they're for different reasons? How do you view these things?
No, I don't think they're separate. I don't think one replaces the other.
Okay.
So I think they need to go hand in hand, where, for example, science can diagnose something and then healing can figure out why it was created in the body. Medication can definitely help in things. I don't think one replaces the other, but I do think there are things that in the medical world have been overlooked that in healing we find the root cause of. And I'm not in any way going to say like, don't take medication, don't go to the doctor, don't. I definitely go myself. I think it's good. It's good to do whatever you can. But I think if all of these things are available to us, why not try them all?
Definitely.
I think an example of this would be, there's been like a trend or a rise in a specific disease that women are getting called PCOS. So polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I myself was diagnosed with it when I was, I think, 15.
Okay.
And I went to a doctor, and I've seen this throughout so many girls that I know that have gotten it as well. You go to the doctor and they tell you it's incurable, but we can put you on birth control pills and see you later.
Okay.
So the reason they put you on birth control is because the symptoms of PCOS will either delay your period, fully stop it, you'll have a rise in excess hair. It has so many symptoms, and it plays differently in every person. Some people can gain weight, some people can't lose it. It depends. But every single girl I've ever met that was diagnosed with PCOS has been prescribed birth control, and that's it. No one gets to the root of what the problem is. So then you're given birth control. Okay, what if then you get married and you want to have kids? Birth control cuts off your ovulation. No, then they give you another pill. And they say this is to get you pregnant. And it's a loop. And you keep going in it, and no one's telling you why you have it in the first place. It's a hormone imbalance. Right? That's what happens. It's a hormone imbalance. Okay, then if we take this into healing, and I think this was an eye-opening moment for me personally, because I worked on this in my own self. You go into healing and you figure out why you have a hormone imbalance that has been so severe that's created disease in your body. And we have to believe that if your body is capable of creating a disease, it's capable of getting rid of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Believe this.
So then we go into it, and it's, let's say a client comes in and they're diagnosed with PCOS. When were you diagnosed? 3 months ago. Okay, take me a year before that. What happened in your life? What changed? I started a new position, or I've been in a position for a very long time, and now I'm leading a team of 5 men. And every day I have to go in and prove my intellect to them, and I have to prove my worth to them, and I have to tell them that I am the leader. Okay, how are you doing that? Well, I go and I'm very tough and I'm very... Okay, but this is very surface level, but just by saying that, you are telling your body to suppress the most feminine part in you and work in your masculine on a very, there's a complete imbalance with your masculine and feminine energy, right? You're operating in your masculine at least 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yep.
And completely suppressing your feminine. What that does for your body, you're telling your body it's safer to be masculine right now. So then it's suppressing your feminine. And what's the most feminine part of your entire body as a female? Your uterus. So then you're creating a disease in the uterus that stops its function of getting periods or having regular periods or ovulating, or you're completely destroying the function of the uterus with PCOS.
Wow, interesting.
So if you work on that, then you start working on her belief systems of what it is to be feminine, that you can demand a room while being feminine, you can command men and be feminine, and you don't have to have this imbalance between the two. And then you start changing those beliefs that she has and take it forward from there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but you're working at the root of why this disease was created to begin with.
Very, very interesting. I know that there's with many women, they fall into the pressure to like you in those situations, to feel strong, to feel like they're in control, to have it all together. I'm imagining, is that a common thing that you see with a lot of clients?
Yeah. I mean, it manifests differently for everyone, but I think to have it all together is something that through centuries will always be there for women. That you always need to have it together. Whether you're working, whether you're a housewife, you have kids, you don't have kids, you have a partner, you don't have a partner, you need to have together. Right? And it's always the next step of why don't you have this?
Yeah, I think when I first moved to Dubai, the first job that I got was a all female led agency. And I just saw the power of like having female leadership and just seeing that feminine energy, where it just felt that you saw this like side of like empathy in the workplace and this ability to like see you as a person that I had never experienced. And I'd worked, I worked at Google in California, right? This aspect, you had everything that you could imagine, right? But when I got there, I just felt like it was another level. It felt like I was being heard, that I was being listened to, that it was very interesting. And you just saw that kind of like power that is there. And so I just was surprised to think about like what you're saying is like when in a male dominated space or something like that, you have to hide that kind of thing. And so I've seen it in my own personal life, and I just think it's quite a beautiful thing to see. So it's good to hear. As a healer and now as a new mother, congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you see like your spiritual practice like being exemplified into your life? Like how do you bring, I'm sure you think and you've studied and you've went deep into like how to love, how to, be empathetic, be in those spaces. So how do you see it how do you show your love around? And yeah, I don't know. I'm imagining it shows very differently than most people.
Yeah. To me, this is very interesting topic and it can go on for hours.
Yep.
But I'm going to try to make it simple. I think before becoming a mother, I've been working on myself so much to get rid of beliefs I knew I never wanted to pass on to my daughter or my son. So I'd constantly work on any belief that I had that I was like, if this gets moved on, I'm going to be devastated. And I think that kind of puts you in the best mirror to face yourself of what do you really need to work on. So I was working on that ever since I became a healer.
Okay.
What do I not want to pass on to the next generation? And then being pregnant was terrible. For me personally.
Okay.
On a physical level, it was horrible, to be honest. I think it's not spoken about enough how being pregnant for some women, I know some women love being pregnant.
Okay.
I hated it, but I was still able to actually connect with the baby in the womb.
Okay.
So I was very like aware of the fact that I wanted to connect with my baby, to give her love, to send her unconditional love, and not have her connect to whatever was going on with me physically. But then having a baby is also the biggest mirror again, because you're now faced with, what do I not want to pass on? How am I going to impact her childhood? What traumas am I creating? I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mirror for sure. It puts you in your place.
And you're still able to do the same practices? Like, did you do sound healing while you're pregnant? Sorry if this is too much. We can move on to other questions, but I'm very curious about it. It's like, was a way that you connected? When you say you connected, because most people are like, hey, look, a mother has a baby inside of her, so they're already connected umbilical cord from that perspective. Again, this is my scientific brain trying to explain, to rationalize something. But from that, like, how did you connect?
In Theta Healing, there's so much belief work you can do around the baby in the womb, where you connect it to yourself in the womb as a person. But then being pregnant, you can also connect to the energy that's in you, the soul that's in you. I connected to her through Theta, not through sound.
Okay.
So sound is just vibrational, but Theta can really connect you with the soul of things, with the energy of other things. So I would connect with my baby on a daily basis and just send her unconditional love. So like I just visualize it as beautiful energy going to my baby and just embodying it.
Yeah.
I think that's how I connected every day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I have one last question. So for people who are interested in this space, right, and maybe they've never done it before, maybe they're in the hustle bustle of everyday life. We know what Dubai is, like you said, you have your money, you have your family, you have so many things going in your life, and you're not thinking about this as a real rational way to go about this because you don't have time or whatever. What would you say to these people, like, to encourage them to start looking into this? Because I feel that there's so much power here and that so many people need this in their life.
Yeah. I think, why not experience it? Just experience it for yourself. I think people can't wait for the weekend to come so that they could let off some steam and feel better, and they're willing to like spend so much on their weekends just to have a wild weekend before going back to work on Monday.
Yeah.
But what if your weekends consisted of actually taking care of your soul to a point where when you go on Monday, you still feel the same way you felt on the weekend? It's just a different perspective that you can have on it if you're willing to invest in yourself, invest in figuring out who you actually are, peeling back all the layers and moving forward, feeling very empowered, feeling untethered at work. You're just beautiful. You're consistently who you are.
That's beautiful. I think there's a lot of people who are scared to understand who they truly are or want to face that and what that is. So I think that's beautiful for someone to find that.
Yeah.
Well, shameless plug. How can people find you if they want to do a session or they want to find this?
Currently, I'm only on Instagram.
Okay.
They can DM me there.
Okay. Your handle?
Dina Ghanem.
Dina Ghanem. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So they'll find you there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the pod.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've learned so much, and I hope our viewers did as well. But really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.